the beautiful state of Florida. He's down there, and as promised, there he is. Hello, sir. How are you?
Hello, Greg. I'm doing good. How are you?
I am. If I was doing any better, I'd be the same. Thank you for asking. So it's what is it there? About 85 degrees, I think you
It
said.
is now 86 degrees. Same year I was born, actually, 1986.
Wow,
Yes,
86. That's the
sir.
year I started DJing. So I'm gonna have to. You're gonna have to start calling me sir. God damn it! All right. So anyway, I used to live in Florida, and a lot of people when I worked at WQAM down there. But it's I miss some of it, not the summers. Don't miss the summers because you couldn't breathe worth the hell down there. But it is nice to get invited to a pool party on Christmas time, something you can't do up here, man. So
Oh,
that
yeah.
little
Yeah.
things like that I miss. But in any event, I'm thanks for joining us. I appreciate it. It's a true honor because you have worked with, like I said in your intro there, you've worked with some of these guys. These are really mainstream guys. Rich Little is, my God. I mean, he's a household name. He has been since before I was born, and the guy's still going. And
Oh, yes.
why don't you tell our audience, though, Zach, who you are exactly, what you do, where you're from, that kind of thing. Let's get to know Mr. Zach Arnold here. Go for it. The floor is yours, sir.
All right. Well, I'm originally from Seoul, South Korea, where I was born in 1986. I don't remember anything about that place because I was adopted at 9 months old by a family in Pennsylvania. We lived about maybe 10 minutes from Hershey Chocolate Town, USA.
Goodness, yep.
And I had my grandparents, my adopted grandparents, pretty much they are my grandparents. They were, my grandfather served in World War II in the Battle of the Bulge. He
Oh
was
wow.
part of the Ninth Armored Division. My grandmother was in concentration camp, and he and his battalion liberated their camp. He fell in love with my grandmother and asked her to marry him. And they unfortunately could not come over to the United States until she had a child because, the laws back then and stuff was soldiers marrying, Ukraine and stuff like that. So she had my uncle, my oldest uncle, and they came over to the United States. And she knew a little English by then, but over time she advanced. And she and my grandfather worked at the Hershey chocolate plant for the rest of their careers. For about 40 years, they worked there. And my grandmother actually moved up to the line manager of the Hershey Kiss line. Now, we're talking back when they had to hand wrap every single Hershey Kiss
Oh my
individually.
God, that's like putting the caps on toothpaste back then. That takes
Yeah.
forever, man.
And some of the people that, because I later worked at the Hershey plant as a temp, and I was put on the Hershey Kiss line. And several of the people that I worked with there worked under my grandmother's supervision. So they knew her very well. They remembered her. They were always talking about what a sweet lady she was. And, they said, we can tell that you're her grandson because you've got the same sweet demeanor as she does.
Oh,
So,
nice.
and I mean, she was that kind of grandmother that, because you got to remember, Greg, she grew up uh, in the concentration camp. She was only 14 when she was kidnapped and taken. And she didn't even really care about herself. She cared about her fellow prisoners. As a matter of fact, this one story that I was told right when she passed away, that she once snuck out of the camp line as they were going back from the railroad to the prison. And she snuck out of line and went down to the local food line and stood in line for maybe 4 hours just to buy a little piece of meat and a couple stale rolls. And she had them in like a burlap bag. And as she was coming back, her cell was on the second floor of the camp.
Okay.
And as she was coming back, one of the guards spotted her and sent the dogs after her. And her cellmates threw a couple sheets tied together out the window to help hoist her up. She had the burlap bag full of food in her mouth. The dog came and bit her on the leg,
Jeez.
and she ended up screaming and dropped the burlap bag. And she was a miserable wreck. I mean, she was in tears, not because she had been hurt by the dogs, but because she was unable to deliver the food to her fellow inmates. And
Wow.
so when I was growing up, she would never let me leave her house unless I accepted a drink or something to eat. I mean, she was that kind of grandmother that always said, "You're not leaving here until I give you something to drink or eat."
Right. You're too
And
skinny, no matter if you weigh 500 pounds, you're too skinny, sit down.
oh
That's
yeah,
how we do it here. But she sounds like an amazing lady. What a selfless person it takes to do something like that.
yes.
I
And
mean,
she always taught me that kindness and caring, compassion, and giving is what people will remember you for in life.
sure.
And if you're
Absolutely.
just a mean spirited son of a bitch, she said that's not going to get you anywhere in life. So, but we
No,
all
it's
have our struggles and stuff.
well, of course. I mean, and maybe not like that. That, like I said, that's just the fact that we can sit here and you could talk. Obviously, you hold her in high regard as well. You should,
Right,
because it's people like that, family, that's like the glue. Like for my family, same kind of thing. Like my grandfather, so these people, they were really. It was a special. I'm not saying that it isn't now. I'm saying that just back then, the fabric of our country was built around people like your
right,
grandmother, like your family, like mine, and so many others. The
right.
backbone of this country started there. They built stuff. They brought stuff. They came over. They were selfless. They had to go. I mean, my God, she was in the camp. I mean, it speaks volumes about the type of people that raised you and that were instrumental in making you who you are now, and
Oh, yes,
they should be revered without a doubt.
right.
So you were in there, and then when you came to the now you were born. You said in PA, or you were brought over.
I was brought over
You were brought. Okay, so
on February 5th, 1987, which actually we call it my airplane day. So I flew in late at night to BWI, Baltimore Washington International, and all my family had gathered there. And this was like at 9, 10 o'clock at night. And my parents and my grandparents, they lived like over 3 hours or 2.5 hours from BWI, and they drove all that way just to pick me up. And it
wow.
was the greatest moment of their lives.
And there you were. Boom. Welcome to the United States there, Zach.
Yep.
I
Oh, going into a bit of a joke here, I always say this to people. I've never said it on the air before on a
okay.
podcast, but I always say, do you know why there are so many adopted Asians in the country today from the 80s? Because back then, the adoption agencies offered a drive through pickup window.
Yeah. Yeah, it's probably that
Yeah.
not only is that funny, but it's probably true.
Yeah.
The fact that you, I mean, so here you are, and you're a kid, and you're going to school in Pennsylvania, right? Obviously,
Right.
and so you grew up there, and and you're with them, and family values obviously surrounded you, which I totally get. That completely different backgrounds, you and I, but the thing that brings us together is, my family, immigrated from Sicily. You know what I mean? So we're
Right.
all from somewhere else. And that's what makes this country one of the things that makes this country so great, that it's a melting pot. And you and I could be sitting here right now, me being Sicilian, Italian, and you being Korean,
Right.
but we can have common. I think that that's great. No, I mean, I truly mean that, because that's what made, and that's why we're Americans. I mean, some people lose
Oh,
sight of that.
yeah.
I think it's of the simplest terms, the easiest way is just to say we're all here. Let's do our thing. Speaking of doing your
Right.
thing, so what made you at what point did you decide that you were interested in comedy? Was it some specific person that you saw on TV? Like for me, I heard Wolfman Jack and Casey Kasem, people like that when I was little, and that's
Right.
what kind of was the dream that I wanted to chase, to follow. Was
Right.
that way for you with comedy, or was it someone that you saw live? Could you tell us about that? I mean, how did that come
There's a
about?
lot of things that lead up to me being a comedian and an impersonator. First of all, my grandparents, they showed me the VHS of Tim Conway's Dorf on Golf,
Oh yeah, I
where
remember those. Yeah,
he had that tall guy, Vincent Chiavelli, who mainly just said, right. And
Yeah, yeah, the guy that
you
was
know,
in Ghost, for people that don't know who that is, that's the old man that was in the subway in Ghost,
yeah.
Vincent Chiavelli. Yeah, so just in case, because we have some, people that are we have a younger crowd as well, so I wanted to make sure that they knew who that was, but please continue. He's a great
And,
actor, by the way.
oh yes, he was, and he was also in Star Trek: The Next Generation as well.
He was in One
And
Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, too.
yes, he was also in Amadeus,
Was he?
the movie about Wolfgang Mozart, and he was at the
Mm,
very beginning
okay,
where the actor what's his name, F. Murray Abraham played
okay.
the composer Salieri in that movie. And in the very beginning, Salieri is an elderly man by then, and he's locked himself in his quarters. And Vincent Chiavelli is the one who comes up holding a candle and knocking on his door saying it's time to eat and stuff. And they actually break down the door and they find that he has slit his throat.
Oh, shit.
So, but yeah,
I don't
Vincent,
remember seeing that. I didn't see that movie.
yeah, Amadeus is a great movie. You got to check that out.
I
And
remember when it came out. I came out, like, what, 85, 86, something in that
I believe
area, I
so.
believe. Yeah.
Yes,
I just so that they knew, but you saw Vincent Chiavelli but
Tim
was there
Conway.
anybody well, okay, so I remember, and it's funny you say VHS because obviously I'm a little bit older than you, more than a little bit,
Right,
but I had VHS up until all right, I know there's gonna be thousands of people listening and watching. Okay, I had VHS, like, less than 10 years ago, don't laugh at me. I had
right.
the combo, remember the DVD and the VHS combo
Hmm.
because there was some stuff you couldn't get on disc. So,
Right.
anyway, I just threw myself under the bus before anyone else could. But anyway, I remember, yeah, they had that. It was like a comedy. He was little, like a midget, not a midget, but you know what I mean. He was like,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
It was
and
funny.
it was
Yeah.
actually a character that he developed during his. He spun it off from Mr. Tudball on Carol Burnett because he had the same toupee, the mustache, the same
He was
voice and
funny.
stuff. But he said, "Let's make this guy short on his own show, the Tim Conway Show." And
Right.
he said he told a funny story several times that because they filmed the Tim Conway Show on the same stage that Bob Barker did on The Price Is Right. And so
It was
he and
CBS,
Harvey,
right? It was
yes,
CBS, I believe.
stage
Okay.
13 at CBS.
Hmm.
And he and Harvey Korman were doing a takeoff on Fantasy Island. And he was, boss, the plane. And
The
he had
tattoo.
shoes on his
Yeah.
knees. And he said, this could be a lot easier if you put holes in the floor and I can stand in the hole and put the shoes on my knees. Because, he could do all those weird
That
moves and stuff.
genius. No, it's genius. Yeah.
Yeah. And he said Bob Barker, when they went on vacation every year, The Price is Right would move in. And there would be parts in The Price is Right, which, if you go back and watch some of the old Price is Right on YouTube, Bob Barker will be crossing the stage and he'll all of a sudden go because he steps in one of the dwarf holes because they chose not to fill in the holes when they went on vacation.
That's just ridiculous. And the Harvey, you mentioned Harvey Korman, and I remember that him with Tim Conway kind of reminded me a little bit of like an Abbott and Costello. Like he wasn't as good. He was good, but even better when they were together because they played off of each other, just like
Well, it's
Abbott and
interesting
Costello
that
did.
you could say Abbott and Costello because Harvey Korman, believe it or not, had the opportunity to play Bud Abbott in a movie, a TV movie called Bud and Lou. And he played Bud Abbott alongside Buddy Hackett as
Mhm.
Costello.
No
And it
shit.
was a
Now that's a combo for you, Buddy Hackett. That's actually pretty good. I'm sorry I missed that.
Buddy Hackett sounded like Lou Costello naturally. So
Yeah,
he really, and he was a clown just like Lou was. So,
yeah, yeah. They were
and
great.
yeah, but Tim Conway was my start, and then I started watching the Three Stooges. And my family, they tried to bring me up on the good stuff, and they actually banned me from watching the Three Stooges after I saw the first VHS
Wow.
because I was so into comedy and I loved to show off at school. And people who are listening and watching right now, whatever you do, if you're still in school, do not do this to anybody. I went to school, I got in an argument with a classmate, and I poked them in the eyes.
Oh, like,
And
yeah. We have to
yep,
put a
I poked
disclaimer
them
on
in
this.
the
And
eyes.
yeah.
and boy, did I get in trouble for that.
Yeah.
And and so that's actually why most of my classmates ended up with glasses for life.
Jeez, you're
Okay,
going
that
around
part's
doing
not
the
true, but
right. We'd have to fact check that and who has the manpower for that. But
yeah.
I mean that's so you saw these different people. And you said you mentioned Tim Conway and everything. Um, so did you do any? I mean, what made you go into okay? I'm going to try to go into stand up. Did you record yourself? Did you? Now you're talking what? We're in the '90s at this point. I'm guessing, right?
Yes.
So you're what? In early like a teenager, I would think, right? Like you're like 15 years old, 16,
Well, I
17.
was more around like age 13 to 14 when I
Uh-huh.
discovered, the comedic stuff. But at the time, I was learning the drums because my goal was to have a career with a Beatles tribute band. And because I'm a big Beatle fanatic.
Uh-huh.
And so I learned the drums and I self-taught myself on them. And then I'd say about a year before graduation, my parents were asking me, what do you want to do after high school? Do you want to go to college? Do you want to, do something else? I said, well, here's what I want to do. I want to take a year to two off and see if I can't get into a Beatles tribute band.
Hmm.
And so I graduated in June of 2005, and within, I guess, maybe it was around July of '07, I finally got a chance to perform with a Beatles tribute band, a band from Ohio called Abbey Road Beatles Tribute. And
Mhm.
I did not have any rehearsal with these guys. I went out to Youngstown, Ohio, and I played on stage with them. I just went on raw. They gave me the set list there that night, and I played for 2 hours straight with them without a hiccup.
What did you play, Zach? Like what
I played Ringo Starr, the
okay.
drum. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
All right.
that
No,
was
I'm trying to picture this. Okay. Go ahead.
yeah, and that's what got me into doing impressions originally, because as a tribute artist, you're known as an actor musician, but you're acting like that person. But you're also playing an instrument. And so I did that from about 2007 to 2011. But I eventually got into another tribute band called Beatlemania The Invasion from Pittsburgh. And we did one show, only one, and we were a success. But then things started getting tough within the band. We didn't agree on anything. So I just said, you know what? I'm out. And then I moved to Florida in 2013, and I took a year off to help raise my two stepkids. And they're now grown up, and so I decided to make a future for myself at 37.
Hey, it's never
So
too late, man. I mean,
no,
hey,
it's not.
right? I
Look at
mean,
Ronnie
it's
Dangerfield. He only got his start around 50 something.
I remember when he was on the Carson, and Carson would have him on all the time. I always thought that he was really funny. I mean, just prior to that, and then when I mean, my favorite movie of all time, comedy wise, is Caddyshack. I mean,
Yes.
it was
Yeah,
great, but without him, how crappy. I mean, it would have been good, but with him, it was just great. You know what I mean? It
right.
just,
It really, really, he
oh my
made that movie.
god, park my car, take my bags, and put on some weight.
Yep. Yeah, park my car, take my bags, and put on some weight.
He goes, Wang, it's a parking lot. He
Yeah.
goes, what's with the pictures? Yeah, no,
Yeah.
it's fine. Yeah, "Could you make a bowl shot?" He goes, "You make a shoe smell?" He goes, "Very funny." He goes, "Last time I saw a mouth like that, I had a hook in it." Yeah,
Yeah.
I know every line from that movie. It was one of
Oh, yeah. 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 It's a great movie.
he
Great
is top
movie.
shelf. I have him up there. Rodney Dangerfield, it's funny you mentioned. I have him up there with, like, in high regard, like, Groucho or, like,
Yes.
people like, John Belushi, who was my absolute I was crushed. He was, like, 12 I was 12 years old when he died, and I
Oh,
was
wow.
crushed when he died. I believe it was March of '82, if I remember that correctly, and, I mean, I loved Robin Williams and, I mean, Eddie Murphy, Richard Pryor, all these different people, even Bill Cosby back in the day, but
Right.
and of course George Carlin.
Yes.
But but there was just something. Rodney Dangerfield, he was just like, if you're in a crappy mood or something, you put him on, you're freaking laughing. I don't care what. You could have just
Yes,
got hit by a car and you're
yes,
laughing, you know. So
right.
I like the juxtaposition between him and keeping him in the background because you're
Mhm.
probably spongy, just like as me as a disc jockey, wanting to be online and go well before there was online, working radio and doing the club circuit and doing all the things that I did prior. I always had these guys in the back of my mind. I kind of sponged off of them. I'm guessing that you kind of in what you do, same kind of thing. You're sponging off of this and watching George Burns here and watching Jack Benny here or whatever it might be, and kind of not copying them, but kind of processing. Everybody was
Yes.
different. You mentioned Buddy Hackett. I mean, it goes on for me, it was like, watch Lenny Bruce. I mean, there was so many great comedians back there. I mean, Don Rickles, can't forget about him. Just
Oh, Don Rickles. Yeah, yeah. And I gotta tell you, from the bottom of my heart, I never liked you, Jerry.
yeah, yeah. He always did his thing about what was it, hockey puck or whatever. It was his
Yeah, look this hockey puck. I mean, he even put that into Toy Story. You know, look, I'm Picasso. I don't get it. You uncultured swine. What are you looking at, you hockey puck?
Yeah, that's right. I almost forgot about that. That's you have a good memory. So
Yeah.
you're doing that, and so we're talking. All right, so we're in the '90s now, and mid whatever. But you actually, so you had that stint or the thing that you wanted to. That was part of what you want, and you accomplished. You wanted to do the thing,
Yes.
Beatles tribute thing, and then the comedy and where does impressions come in? Because this I've never been a comedian. I've done like a little bit of comedy here at 107 down in Key West, everything, but not like wasn't like my thing. Yeah, but I
Right.
attempted it. It was funny, and I'm more sarcastic than I am funny, which people think I'm funny, but I'm really being mean, and they think I'm joking. But anyway, that didn't work. That's not really my thing. How
Hmm.
because some will do stand up only. Some will do audio, like you do audio books or whatever. And then there's others that can kind of cross over and do impressions and that, which has got to be difficult. That's what you do. You went for the
Yes.
hardest one, the toughest one, which says volumes about you. You didn't take the easy way out. What was that
No.
transition like? Like how did you try to burst through with that? Did you just look in a mirror and practice over and over and over? Tell us about that. I
Well,
think people want
with
to
the
know that.
impressions, we have to go back to before the tribute band to about 2001. This was right after George W. Bush took office. And Rich Little, which we will talk about that, he was doing a tour at the time for an onstage play called The Presidents. And he himself got into full regalia. They had a set that looked like the Oval Office. And he came out and did every president from John F. Kennedy to George W. And it was more of an onstage play, like making it was like a romp through history mainly. But he came out and he did all these guys and did the voices and the mannerisms, and he threw comedy in there, and it was great. And I remember sitting there watching the show, and I was thinking, hmm, that's a good job right there doing impressions. And so I was like, if the Beatles tribute band thing doesn't work out or doesn't last,
Yeah.
impressions are a great way, to get yourself out there, as is acting, which is what I'm also working towards being an actor. So, but the impressions started from seeing Rich Little do the president.
Yeah, he was always good. That and real quick, if I am not mistaken, the one of the most famous people that started with impressions and went from there, Jim Carrey. Jim Carrey
Yes,
started out with just doing impressions at the comedy store stuff like that, and then worked his way and was on Living Color and stuff like that. But
right.
so that's the first person I think of. I'm like, well, has anyone ever done that? Yeah, and I guess he did pretty well. So I mean, you're in good company
Yeah.
as far as that's concerned, right? I mean,
Well, there's a story about Jim Carrey when he was first starting out. Rodney Dangerfield discovered him,
oh, did
and
he? Okay.
and he did. He was Rodney Dangerfield's opening act at one point when he was not even known, and people were booing him and saying, "Get off the stage! Get Rodney out here!" Jim Carrey ran off the stage in tears
Word.
because nobody wanted to see him. And now look at him. He's one of the greatest actors in Hollywood.
and I'm not surprised by that because you hear similar stories like that. People bombed or this and that, and I tell people on the radio side of it, I'm like, "You're gonna do this," or even if you're a podcaster and you're not really a radio person, but you're doing it and you're giving it your best, if you give it everything you have, and it's gonna absolutely suck, it's okay because that's a prerequisite for getting better, but you
It's a
did it. You
learning
got that out
experience.
of the way, right? And
Right.
you learn from it and you move on, and then you get better and you scale up and everything because I don't know of anybody that comes to the top of my mind unless you could tell me of that was awesome from the first second
Yes.
that they were in public eye. I can't think of anyone.
Well,
So,
even Prince, for example, Prince, when he was not even known, when he was just starting out, he opened for, oh gosh, I forget who it was that he opened for, but he opened for a concert, and it was one of the well-known acts. Maybe it was Michael Jackson or James Brown or something. I don't remember off the top of my head. But he came out, he opened the show, but people started throwing food and things at him, trying to get him off the stage because they didn't want to hear him. And
hmm,
Prince, of course, went on to become a worldwide phenomenon musically.
of course, yeah.
I mean, he was right up there with Michael Jackson.
Yeah, I mean, he passed away, what? It's been I think it was like 2017, and it
Yeah.
was a little bit ago, but
We lost a lot of people in 2017.
we've been
I mean,
losing them every year, it seems like. Every year it keeps getting progressively worse, I guess. I guess the older
yeah,
you get, the more you're gonna see of that, obviously, but it's no,
right,
you're right. That particular 2 or 3 year span in there, even prior to that, we had lost James
right.
Gandolfini, we lost Robin Williams. I mean, there was a whole bunch of stuff leading up to that, and even
Yes.
the Barbara Stanwyck. I mean, all these different people, but, nah, you're right, and, it's really sad. I remember I was a big fan of Richard Jeni, and I remember
Yeah.
when he, I not to talk about, but and I wanted to go and see him, and my parents had bought me something, for my birthday, like tickets to go and see him. I was so
Hmm.
excited and everything, and they had to kill a lot of his shows. They had to knock them out of there because he was filming a new movie, and they kept having him go back and forth and stuff, and that movie ended up being The Mask, because that was
Oh,
right
yeah.
around '94, and I was, like, so disappointed, but when I saw him in the movie, I'm like, "Alright, now I understand." But,
Oh, yes.
alright, so we're gonna take a quick break. When we get back, we're gonna have more here with Zach Arnold. Like I said, we'll get him to do some impressions. I guess if we say please, he'll probably do it. He's a pretty cool dude. But we'll go in a
Beg
little bit
me.
more in depth. Yeah. Well, we'll go more in depth. I know you probably have a bunch that are in your pocket there. I'll give you a chance to keep that together. We'll be back in a few minutes. But yeah, I'm interested to know because now at this point, you're kind of just parallel to what these people are doing. And then you're watching, like you said, you got that Bob Hope that would do that. I mean, there was so many different people that I'm sure rubbed off on you. I mean, these are some of the classics, greats. I don't think it'll ever be like that ever again. I
Right.
don't mean that in a negative way. I mean, but these guys are Hall of Fame classics. They are once in a lifetime type of people. I guess you would agree with that. I mean, there'll never be
Yeah.
another Rodney Dangerfield. There'll never be another Bob Hope
No.
or George Burns. I'm sorry. It just won't, in my opinion, But
And
and
it's
that's
sad
okay.
that people these days don't even know who any of these people are.
Well, thankfully, they'll be in school right now and they won't be watching this, so we don't have
Yeah.
to deal with that. So you know, and I mean, like I said, I'm a big, big fan, and you know the guy that I'm going to talk about, but of Groucho Marx. That's where I get my
Yeah.
sarcasm from. Just I never forget a face, but in your case, I'll make an exception. Like just the way he was just awesome. Nobody could touch Groucho in my mind. Just
Right.
can't be touched.
Oh,
Anyway,
of
we're gonna
course.
take a
Groucho Marx.
yeah. Yeah, closer, closer. He goes, "If I got any closer to you, I'd be behind you."
Yeah.
But,
You
yeah,
know who
he
you know who snuck
classic.
into my room last night at 4 o'clock in the morning? Who? Nobody. That's my complaint.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's exactly. Alright, we're gonna take a break, and, we'll be right back. You're listening, to the Mean Machine Radio Show with Gregory Joseph. That happens to be me. I could talk in second person, too. I didn't even know I could do that. But in any event, we'll be right back. I'm gonna put this up here for people to see your YouTube channel. There it is, The Incredible Impression on YouTube, at The Incredible Impression. That is Zach Arnold's channel there. You should check him out. I say that you definitely should because he's a funny man and you're getting in on the ground floor with this guy. He's good, and we're going to see some of that when we get back. You're listening to the Bean Machine Radio Show on New Jersey 88.6 FM WGAT, and we'll be back in just a few. So hang out. He's funny. We're going to talk to him a little bit more. So we still have a lot of time.
Get ready for the ride of a lifetime with your favorite DJ.
You are listening to the Mean Machine Radio Show on New Jersey, 88.6 FM WGAT.
You're listening to the best radio in town. Stay tuned.
And now live from your sister's closet, it's the Mean Machine Radio Show on New Jersey, 88 WWGAT.
This is probably the best station in the world.
That's right.
That is right. All right. Welcome back to the Mean Machine Radio Show. I am Gregory Joseph, your host. And for those listening in on New Jersey 88.6 FM, WGAT, thank you for being with us on our, it's actually Throwback Thursday. I don't know what we're going to be throwing back unless it's some cold ones a little bit later on. But in the meantime, we have a special guest as we continue on. We are with Zach Arnold. Zach W. Arnold, I should say. Excuse me. I didn't want to forget the W in there. Actually, it might not be Zach. I'm not sure who that is. Sir, who are you? Identify yourself, please.
Oh, this is George Burns, and I hope you'll excuse me, but Zach had to step out for a moment because he had to tell Gracie to say goodnight because she's very jumpy tonight, and she doesn't want to go off the air. So I got tired of it, so I sent Zach out there to do it.
I see. Well, thank you for joining us, Mr. Burns. I appreciate you standing in for such a highfalutin guy. Nice glasses, by the way.
Thank you very much. And this cigar's pretty old. I gotta get a new one.
Well, that's okay. So are you, sir. But in any event, I see that you've come back to life. You know, we miss you. I remember one of my favorite movies growing up. I was little in the 70s was Oh God. And you played God. I mean, what could be a better role? It doesn't get any higher than that, I guess. How did you like that one?
Oh God, I just loved playing God, and people always said, God, please help me out with this, and I would say, well, I can only do so much at a time, and as a matter of fact, however, I think Zach's back, and also he just went down to the corner store. I had asked him for some more cigars, so I think he's back now. So would you like me to put him back on, or would you like to talk to me some more?
You know what? It's okay if you want to stay. If he's done doing his gopher stuff, go for this, go for that. I understand. That's how I had to start too. So we if it's something that's doable and he wants to come back, we'd love to have him. You can tell him I said hi if he doesn't come back. And that where did you go? And where is this store, by the way, that has cigars? I want to know.
Well, the store is actually, I told him to go to a good tobacco shop to get me my cigars because this one here, I asked him, where'd you get this stupid thing? He said, well, I got it at the gas station around the corner. He said, really? I said, really? How much did you pay for it, Zach? He said, well, $1.99. I said, really? Good Lord, if I paid $1.99 for a cigar, I'd make love to it first and then smoke it.
I'm getting a visual on that, and it's very unpleasant. But I appreciate what you're saying there. I mean, it can't be easy being you because you are a legend. But like I said, if Zach is around, we'll bring him back, and it was always it's nice to meet your
at my age, I'm lucky to be anywhere. Tell you the truth.
Right, right, exactly. And breathing, which is always a plus. That's always.
But I'm one of the oldest comedians ever. I'm the only one who has entertained audiences every decade during the 20th century.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. Like I said, that. You're a classic, man. There's that. You're a Hall of Famer. You know this. I don't have to keep pumping you up. The crowd knows. The audience knows.
Oh, yes. As a matter of fact, I actually had to train Zach how to properly hold his cigar because, you see, Greg, he has a habit of holding it in his right hand. And, I always hold my cigar on the left. And he always said, Zach, or he said, George, why do you hold your cigar in your left hand? I said, well, I need my right hand free for something else.
I don't know where this is going. Hopefully, you don't mean pocket pool, but in any event, well, we could do left and right with him when he gets back. That's it's okay. I used to have flashcards, but I ran out of TP. But it's we have enough stuff here for. All right, is he coming back? When's he coming back, George?
Oh, let's see. Oh, here he is right now. I'm going to bring Zach back here, okay?
All right, you got it. Nice meeting you,
Right.
sir.
Nice meeting you. Say goodnight, Gracie.
Good night, Gracie.
Hey, I'm back. Where the hell have I been? I don't. Oh yeah, I went down to the corner store for George. He's not happy with me right now
Yeah,
because
he
this
said you
time
had a
I only
problem.
paid 50 cents for the cigar.
Those damn gas stations, they never have anything good, other
Yeah,
than the gas. But yeah, apparently there's a problem with your left and your right. I don't know how we can do that unless you spin around, but that's you can work on it. It's a process of elimination. It's either one or the other.
yeah,
I'm not good with
exactly.
fractions or decimals, but I'm pretty sure 50% of the time you could get that right. But
Right. Yes.
all right, so now that you're back, Zach, and thank you for coming back. I was telling our
Hey,
audience here,
absolutely, my pleasure.
hey, this is your Mean Machine material. You make it to this show, you can say whatever you want, do whatever you want for the most part, and we're unscripted. And you could tell people, in case they might or might not believe me, we did not rehearse. We don't
No, we
go
did not.
over any. We don't do. We barely did anything beforehand. Just hey, how you doing from Jersey? And that was it.
Yeah.
That's pretty much we fly by the seat of our pants. But you know what? It's organic. It's real. You're real, and that's.
Yes.
That's what we like. Too many people trying to reinvent themselves. Doing impressions is one thing, but
Yes.
you're Zach W. friggin' Arnold, man. And we
Exactly.
want people to know that because you're confident in yourself. And
Right.
it doesn't matter what people say or what people think. It matters what you think. You're the toughest critic on you, right? I
Right.
mean, and that's how that's how us in the entertainment business we forge on that way. We don't listen to what the white noise,
Right.
you're going to pioneer your own life. You're going to, your destination is a little bit different from others, and it's about the voyage. It's about the journey, man. You got to enjoy it. Take time to stop and smell the roses. Whoever coined that term was definitely right.
Right.
I think you enjoying yourself doing what you do. I mean, do you get like satisfaction? Like I do a show, and whether I flubbed a line or I did a voiceover and I messed up or something, everybody makes mistakes. But do you, for the most part, when I'm done, when I'm finished and I sign off or whatever, I feel good that I completed something that I made it to the finish line. Do you feel that way when you're done doing a stand up or whatever it is, like some kind of
It's a
comedy
great
routine?
sense of accomplishment. It's a great
Right.
feeling of accomplishment. Because like it when you go on at first, it's like, okay, how is the audience gonna react? Is it
Right.
gonna get laughs? Is it gonna be just crickets throughout the entire show? Are you gonna get food thrown at you or drinks or something? And
They still do that? Because I'm a big tomato fan. And I'm really, really against them throwing tomatoes. That's terrible. But they
I don't
still do
mind
that?
them throwing tomatoes, but if they throw a cowardly tomato, then that's the
Uh,
problem. A
that is
cowardly
a problem.
tomato is one that hits you and runs.
Oh my god. Yeah, I mean a lot of people walking around with rotten fruit and vegetables. Well, I know a couple, we are in Jersey. But still, I'm glad. I mean, if you're getting satisfaction, like you accomplished something, whether it wasn't your best or it was and you nailed it. I mean, when you nailed it. You
Oh
just
yeah,
do, and you feel like it's that rush of adrenaline, right? I mean,
right,
it's exhilarating knowing that you gave it everything you had. And now
exactly,
the only person that you have to top on something like that is yourself. There's only one way to go, right? So you got to scale upwards.
right.
But I mean, I appreciate what you do because what you do is not easy. Trying to get a laugh
No,
out of,
it's not.
they could be in a shitty mood or something like that, and like, oh, make me laugh, Zach. Like on spec, and you got to
Right,
like hit the right thing and stay away from politics or religion because you never know. And that's a very precipitous thing. How do you approach
right.
that? Like, how do you know? Like, do you just look at someone or the crowd and you kind of gaze and go, "All right, let me try this and see." And if not, I can switch off. Like, how does that work exactly? Can you tell me that?
What? Well, for example, I did a. You can find this on my YouTube channel. I did for the Beatles' 60th anniversary on the Ed Sullivan Show. Eddie Deason and Steve Joyner, my awesome manager. Steve
Mm,
is great. We we did a screening of the movie I Want to Hold Your Hand, Steven Spielberg
Oh,
and Bob Zemeckis.
sure.
And
Yeah.
me being an impersonator, Steve asked me if I would come to Atlanta and appear hosting the show since it was the 60th anniversary of Ed Sullivan. And I do Ed Sullivan as an impression. Would I be willing to come and do the hosting as Ed Sullivan?
There
And
you
I
are.
said, I'd be more than delighted. And there is me right there is Ed.
I thought I
And,
was looking at his twin brother. Yeah. All right. There we go. And we have
and
it flashing, by the way. That's your I'm sorry to interject real quick. We are flashing. I don't know if you can see that or not, but for the people that are listening, I just wanted to say real quick. I'm sorry, Zach, that it's www.youtube.com/ at the incredible impression. Because remember, not everyone can watch right now. There's people that are listening. So that way I wanted to be able to tell them. So youtube.com/ at the incredible impression. Zach's stuff is on there. And actually, the one that you're talking about with Steve and with Eddie, the one in Georgia, I actually
yeah.
watched that a couple of hours ago when I
Oh,
was doing
did
my
you?
homework on. Yeah, it was pretty cool. You guys were doing. I mean, I don't know Eddie, but I do know Steve, obviously. That's a mutual friend. Great guy. And the fact that you went down there and did that had to feel good to be there, not only with those guys that are like your brothers, but to be there and actually doing well and letting people see your craft, like you doing it. Was that a great feeling or what? I mean, it had to have been.
It was such an elation. I can't describe to you
Yeah.
the incredible excitement and joy and honor to be able to do that because I had really not done anything on stage since my time in the Beatles tribute industry. So
Oh, wow. That's
being
a long
able
time in
to,
between. Jeez.
yes,
Uh,
and so being on there on stage as Ed Sullivan, and bear in mind that picture that you threw up as me of me as Ed, I had never ever tried to go into full regalia as Ed Sullivan. So I purposely let my hair grow out a bit. I slicked it back using some gel, and I took eyeliner and I just drew in some lines and some under eye bags and stuff.
no, you look
And
good,
I
man. That's
squared,
exactly how he stands or did.
yes, I squared my shoulders and I did the mannerisms. But
Yeah.
it's funny how I was actually, because I had never tried really to fully impersonate Ed Sullivan. And about around October, I was in South Carolina visiting Steve and Eddie.
Yeah.
And I was going back to my hotel room and I was in the elevator and I just happened to look at my reflection. There's no mirrors in the elevator, but I can see my reflection in the wall. So I'm standing there and I'm looking like this, and all of a sudden, I just was like, then I did that,
Hmm.
and I was like, that's how to do Ed Sullivan. Square the shoulders, get
Lose
all
the neck.
tense. And
Yeah. He's not
yeah,
easy to do. I mean, he's not an easy one to just like, right? I mean, that's
right. And
takes
as an
some time.
impersonator, there's a difference between impressionist and an impersonator. Impressionists just try to get the voice down,
Okay.
whereas an impersonator, you have to actually feel that character. Like you have to feel Ed Sullivan with a lawsuit from Cat Tip.
No. She doesn't
Oh,
watch this show.
oh, Jimmy Stewart just walked in. Would you like me to bring him out here?
Oh, yeah. Can you yeah, shoot up a flare. Tell him we're waiting on him.
All right. Jim, come, leave Harvey alone and get over here. Hello there, Greg. It's really nice to be here today. I apologize for the wait, but my friend Harvey, he was trying to mess with Zach's two cats out there, and I had to kind of go out there and make sure that he wasn't causing them trouble, and
Right.
it seems to me that I Yeah, I know. Zach's trying to tell me, Jim, stop talking so slowly, move it on. Greg, I talk so slowly that one time I was doing this picture, and by the time I got done reciting my first line in the script, I discovered they just finished the sequel.
That takes a while there, Mr. Stewart. I appreciate, and thank God that we don't have you and Catherine Hepburn on at the same time, because I'm not sure yeah, I don't have that kind of. I have stuff to do in October, which is coming up, but it's finally, yeah, it's good to meet your acquaintance. To me, you'll always be George Bailey. Sorry, I mean, to me, you are George Bailey. It's a Wonderful
George
Life.
Bailey, yes. I can remember saying to Mary, my wife Mary in the movie, I would say, well, what is it you want, Mary? What do you want? You want the moon? If you do, just say the word. I'll throw a lasso around it and bring it down here. I'll give you the moon, Mary. How's that?
That was pretty good, actually.
As a matter of fact, one last thought here. Catherine Hepburn is here, and she would like to say a few words or just say hello. But I told her I would not appear on this video with her. So it's that's up to Zach and you if you would like Kate to come out here.
Well, that's up to you. I mean, if you can't find her, I mean, that's got to be the biggest house I've in the history of the world. But you know what? That's up to you. If she would be so kind, if she wants to show up. If not, we absolutely, my audience and I, we understand, because it was short notice there.
Well,
Um,
Kate, would you like to say at least hello to them? Okay, she's gonna say hello here.
Perfect.
Just a moment here.
All
Kate,
right.
come here.
Tell her the meme machine wants to meet her. So come on.
Well, hello, Greg, the meat machine. You old poop. This is Catherine Hepburn, and I do you know me, I do yoga, and as a matter of fact, the first time that Jimmy Stewart came back to say hello to me, I was in my dressing room, standing on my head doing yoga, and he said he just wanted to come in and say hello, and I said, well, you'll have to get on your head if you want to talk to me.
Oh my God. I have an important. It's very nice to meet your acquaintance, Miss Hepburn.
Oh, thank
There's
you.
a
I'm gonna
there's
pass it back to Zach Arnold, that old kid,
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I was going to ask you is, real quick, and on Golden Pond, did you bang Fonda or no? I'm just
I tried like hell, but he wouldn't let me. Henry Fonda was a tough little shit to try to get to.
plus his daughter was roaming around on the set, so I could see why you had to pass. And it was very nice to meet your acquaintance, Miss Hepburn, and thank you for not smoking. I read that somewhere.
Oh, thank you very much. It was an honor. I'm gonna put Zach Arnold back on now.
All right, thank you so much, ma'am. I appreciate that.
Thank you very much, Zach. Oh, hey, Greg. I think
I'm
Catherine's got a
sitting there
headache
laughing.
now. I think she's
Yeah,
got a headache now because she bobs her head all the time.
whoa, that's what she said. All right, I got you. But that's
I
yeah, but
heard
nice.
that.
All the I thought she was doing yogurt. I mean yoga. That's good though.
Yogurt.
Yeah. Well, you got to stay regular.
That's what
I
Fluffy says all the time. Gabriel Iglesias.
That's
He
right. You
says,
know him, don't you?
I don't know him personally. I would love to get to know him personally because, his buddy Martin, he's always causing trouble and stuff. And, I could show Martin a couple things around this area. The only problem is he would probably be banned from the state of Florida altogether after all he does,
You got to do a hell of a lot of stuff to get banned from the state of Florida.
The force is strong.
You know, who Martin reminds me of, believe it or not? He reminds me of a long-haired, very hippie Geraldo Rivera. I mean, have
Oh
you
my god.
seen that guy?
Unfortunately, yes, I have, but it's yeah, that guy's got some kind of thing. I don't know what it is, but it's
Martin!
yeah,
But
what
I
the
would say
wrong with that guy? I don't know. Yeah, it's something's up there.
they would
I'm not.
if they ever did a roast, like one of those Comedy Central roasts, or even like the clean format, like the Dean Martin roast, and
Yeah.
Fluffy was being roasted, I would come up and say, if I was there and speaking, I would come up and say, you know, Fluffy is a wonderful man, a fantastic star, and he was with a great many women in his life. They're all flat now.
Yeah, I was gonna say, are they still alive? I'm wondering if they need to come up for air or what.
Yeah,
I like his style when he does the BB voice and all that stuff. He's kind of funny,
yeah,
in his own way. I always liked who's the Hispanic. He did stand up. He did comedy. He was in movies. Oh my god, he was so funny. And now my mind just went blank. He was in um, Paul Rodriguez.
yes. You
He
know,
would make me laugh to remember I was born in East LA or whatever that movie. Oh my god. I was pissing my pants when he's funny as hell, I thought,
we- Paul Rodriguez sounds a lot like Cheech Marin in a way.
And they were both in the same movie. That was the movie I'm referring
Yes.
to. Yeah, that was
Cheech and Chong is easy for me to do. I can switch back and forth from Cheech to Chong to Cheech and Chong real fast.
well,
Like
not
if I'm
the people that can't see, but they could definitely hear. I think that you should invite them in, give the boot to the rest of those people there for the, pre-war. We'll get rid of pre-war right now. And, and then we'll bring in you know, what I'm
yeah.
trying to say. Let's bring in the fresh blood now. There, are you ready? Are they around? Can you knock on their door and see what they're doing? Help us out, Zach.
Hey, guys, get out of the bathroom. Oh, I told you to stop smoking in here. Ridiculous. Come here. Oh man, how's it going, Greg? Hi man, how's it going?
It's going good. How are you? Are you? When was the last time you weren't still? It was like 1997 or something like that. I read about it somewhere.
Oh yeah, man. You know me. I've always been. I'm always high, man. I can't. Go around unless I'm high. Hey, gee, get over here, man. What the hell you doing, man? Get over here. Oh, hey, man. Hey, Greg. How you doing? How's all your listeners, man?
I don't know
Sorry.
how they are. I'm good though, Mr. Chong. How are you?
I gotta tell you, man, it's great being here, but I had to give up a whole bunch of hookers there in Zach's bathroom. We were having a great time. I didn't even have a chance to put my underwear back on, man.
That's I'm sorry to hear that, sir. By the way, he must have the biggest goddamn bathroom. That's bigger than the bathroom that was in a Bronx tale where they were trying to put everyone. Where are all these people coming from? I don't know. When you see Zach, maybe you could tell him. But that's
Well, you
what do
see, they were crawling out from under the sink, man. I guess there's a secret passage in there for them to come through. I've never seen it. I said to Zach, are they coming through the pipes or something? And yeah, man, but I think they're coming out of the drawers, man. But Zach, he's got that large soaking tub, man. So I don't know where they're coming from, man. But I know they're coming from somewhere.
Yeah, you got a lot of house guests. I mean, for our bathroom, by the way, you got to leave you got to leave the room just to change your mind. That kind of small we're talking about, but it's you seem like you have a lot of good folks over there. Well, it's good to talk to you, Mr. Chong. And by the way, we try to buy your paraphernalia all the time. I think that was bullshit that you got locked up for that. There's people out there with hacksaws and they're locking you up uh, for paraphernalia. Come on,
Oh
man.
man, I was just sitting in the coffee shop minding my own business, man, and this cop come in and is like, "Hey man, you're under arrest." And I was high on acid at that point, man, because Chong, man, he gave me that acid, when we first met in Up in Smoke, and I still hadn't come down from that, man. So I had to do something. So next thing I knew, I woke up and we were in some sort of a jail cell, and the big brother over there was going, "Hey, come here, man, come here." Yeah, man, that was a terrible experience, man.
Yeah,
Good thing my
paraphernalia, they
mind
nailed you.
was blown.
Your mind was blown and something else was, well, anyway, that's amazing, amazing story there. That's fantastic. I'm glad you guys are still going strong. You're still very popular, and I've always liked you. Growing up, listening to Big Bamboo and things like that, and watching your show, The Corsican Brothers, and of course, Up in Smoke is an absolute classic. I mean, you did good,
Oh
man.
man, yeah, man, that shit's awesome right there. And yeah, I'm glad to see our paraphernalia is going somewhere good, going to someone who could use it, because we've kind of outgrown that stuff.
And you didn't even try to go on the black market. You just stayed right on the good old internet, the good US of A. That's awesome, man. That you have no
Oh
fear.
yeah, man, you gotta try Chong's good homemade stuff that the medical shit they got going on now. You gotta try that stuff. It's real good. It helps a lot.
I'm not sure what it helps with, but it definitely numbs everything. That's awesome. I
Oh,
very
that's heavy, man. That's heavy.
Well, it's really good to meet your acquaintance. I know there's not going to be a lot of room, but when you guys are stoned, maybe you could get Catherine Hepburn in there. Give her slide her some hemp or something and see if she'll remove some
But
articles of clothing. Tell her to
then
smoke.
we'd have to call her Catherine Hepburn.
Right. Well, I thought it was hip burn, but that's another story for
Well,
another day.
either
And
way. Yeah, man. Either way. Catherine Hepburn, man. She's one hell of a hot chick. Until we come down from the high, then we realize, it's an old fart laying in our bed, and we have no idea how she got there, man.
she looks really, really good in pictures. But those are mostly aerial photos. But she looked good. I remember, she's actually a very classic. She was a very classy lady. A lot of people from that era, Jimmy Stewart, your other buddies are over there. George
Oh
Clooney.
yeah.
Yeah, I forgot you were still. Sorry,
Oh
man. I
yeah,
thought
but
exactly.
Jimmy doesn't like being in the smoke room with us because you know him. He was all prim and proper, and as a matter of fact, I think he and Harvey just jumped out the window. I think.
Well, like I said, sounds like your bathroom is bigger than my whole goddamn house. But that's awesome. It's very
Oh
great.
yeah.
That's awesome. You
Well,
guys keep
listen.
rock on, man. I mean, you guys are pretty awesome. Yeah, I remember when
Oh
you.
yeah, man.
uh,
Rock on. Hey man, Zach, get the hell back here, man. Hey, I'm back. So
You got a lot of
I hope
house
you
guests
got a
back.
good chance to talk to them.
I did. I did. It was very enlightening. It was when I said hi, I wasn't asking what his condition was, but you know what I mean. But that's it was awesome. A lot of people enjoy stuff like that.
Excuse
Oh
me, what
yeah.
the fuck?
Well, it's not totally outlet. I mean, where there's one is the other. Those guys are awesome. And but
Oh yeah.
honestly, back to reality. Not bad, Zach. That was pretty good. I mean,
Thank you. I would love to meet Cheech and Chong in person and do them to them. Because, I mean, like Rich Little got the best reaction from Johnny Carson. I honestly think I would get a very good reaction from Cheech and Chong.
well, I mean, yeah. Well, there's possible. I plan on speaking to Tommy Chong in some way, time in the near future. I will try to drop a line for you. I can't guarantee anything, but I can try to make that happen for you. But don't tell everybody. I
I
had a
won't tell
question
anybody.
for you. When was the last time? Do you have a direct line with Rich Little? Has it been a while? I mean, because I know he's kind of active. He's out in L.A., right? Isn't he in California?
He actually just lost his 8-year contract with Vegas because the Tropicana closed down, and he was
Yeah.
performing at the Laugh Factory at the Tropicana. Now, to be perfectly honest with you, I talked to him a little bit here and there over the years, but I messaged him and I commented on his Facebook post, and he answered back. And then last month, I went to see him in the Villages, which is like 10 minutes down the road from me. and the old folks retirement home where everybody drives slowly and all the golfers use walkers. and
Great. Yeah. We're just gonna plan a
and
quick week of 9 holes. Yeah.
oh yeah, well
All right.
6 holes takes about maybe 14 hours for them.
Hey, we're not here talking about porn. You keep that to yourself. But I wanted to know, like, when was the last time you did like, do you submit stuff and he, like, pick and choose? Is it kinda 'cause you could use some of his stuff? Like, how did that exchange happen? If I'm interested in that.
Well, what happened was I last time I saw him here in the Villages, I typed out a whole bunch of jokes that I wrote on my own, and my girlfriend actually wrote one of them for Karnak, and I submitted them to him. I gave it to the theater worker before the show, and because Rich knew from Facebook on the comment section that I was going to be bringing a packet of jokes, and he said, "I would love that, Zach. I'm always up for new jokes." And so I took him the jokes, and I also got him a pair of Walmart uh, aviator style sunglasses, and because he does a great impression of Joe Biden, and I thought what I would do is I would get some little like letter stickers and put J on one lens and B on the other. So that because when he does Biden, Biden's written to everybody so much great material. So I took them.
Inadvertently, yes. I know.
Yeah, I
Yeah, but, go ahead.
I took them to the theater, and he came out, and at the end of his act, he did "What a Wonderful World" by Louis Armstrong with his Kermit the Frog puppet.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
what a wonderful world!
yeah, that's it.
And thank you. And he was doing. He brought Kermit out, and Kermit was wearing his mask, like the COVID mask. And he said, "Kermit, why are you wearing the mask?" And he said, "I'm trying to hide from Miss Piggy." He said, "Well, I thought you loved her." He said, "Well, she brings home the bacon." And he
Oh,
goes, "Where
boy.
did that come from, Rich?" And Rich goes, "I think Zach wrote that joke."
Brings home the bacon. Very clever.
And then
That's,
after the show, I went up and I shook his hand. There's actually pictures of that on my Facebook of him and I shaking hands. And I told him, "Hey, I'm Zach. I'm the one who submitted the jokes." He's like, "Excellent. That is great. I got them before the show. Thank you so much." So I got a hold of him on the comment section on Facebook because you can't directly message him.
yeah, no,
So,
you have to be in a certain I can't say obviously on air, but I know
right,
how that works where it for the general public cannot they get part of a fan page type of thing.
right.
But the other way, you and I know. I get it though, but go ahead. Yeah.
Right. And
Yeah.
he commented after, because he put up a post that he had a great time at the Savannah Center in the Villages, and 2 friends came backstage to see him that night from out of town. They came all that way just to see him, and they took a picture backstage. And I commented, I said, "Rich, I hope you enjoyed the jokes I gave you." He said, "Thank you so much for them, Zach. I sure did." And I forget the 2 ladies' names, but he said, "We were backstage laughing hysterically at them after the show. Thank you so much. I will definitely incorporate them into my act. In the meantime, feel free to use any of mine that you would like. We'll swap jokes."
No kidding. And do you get paid for something like that? Like, you don't have to tell us the amounts, but is that something where if a comedian, let's say someone in addition to Rich Little, let's say you had it and you submitted it to, I don't know, you can name any comedian off the top of your head, and they decided they want to use it. What's to prevent them from just stealing it and not giving you the proper credit? I've always wondered about how that part of it works. Like, how do you know they're not going to just take it and say, "No, this was mine"? What are you talking about? Like, how does that work exactly?
I'm very open about it. I mean, I
Yeah.
know several comedians use the same jokes and stuff. So I fall right into that category. I mean, people keep saying, you should charge people for these jokes and stuff. But, I'm just starting out as an actor and as a comedian. I want to get my name out there. I want to be known. And then after I establish my platform and stuff, then I'll start maybe thinking about, charging people some money. But as
No,
of
I was just
now,
wondering.
I just
Yeah.
want to get out there.
No, I mean, I get it. I didn't know if it's something they did where he like threw you something for it, but having that guy to be able to mention in the same sentence, I mean, he's the king of impressions for the most part. It's worth its weight in gold. You can't put a price tag on that. So I was just
Right,
curious because that part of it, I know how we do it. Things are different, like
right.
radio style and everything. So I was just worried, wondering, not worried, wondering on how that kind of thing actually how that transpires. But I guess once you make it to a certain point, then you can uh, I guess, get paid. I mean, you have to be worth it, right? I mean, in any venue, not just what you do, but as far as the acting part is concerned, was that just a normal flow? Like, oh, okay, well, I'm going to do stand up. I've been on the stage. I probably could do like some people do like Broadway. They'll do like off Broadway stuff just to get ready for it. And then they screen test. They go out to California because obviously here, the New York, New Jersey area, this would be more theater. In
Right,
California, LA, and Burbank and all that, that would be more film because that's where Paramount, and Warner Brothers, and everybody's out there.
right.
So how do you make that transition? Like, will you just start flying all over the place and reading copy for them and scripts, like, or do they email it now? How does that work?
Well, what's going on now is I'm in the process of I'm going to be doing two films this summer. One of them is being filmed in Oregon. It's called Werewolves versus Earth versus Werewolves from Mars, or Werewolves from Mars, I believe it was changed to. And I'm playing a guy named Eddie the Bar Guy, and he's made. It's about alien wolves that come to. It's a sci-fi style movie. It's all in black and white. It's like 1950s retro style, but it takes place in the 2050s. And pretty much,
Okay.
I'm the main bar influence. I'm the guy that everybody looks up to. And if I say something that I don't think exists, everybody goes along with me. And if I say something does exist, like I can say the earth is flat, you know, everybody in the bar will believe me because I'm
Mm,
such a known influence. Anyway, my character leads the charge to battle the werewolves. And then I'm doing a movie in Indiana for Paul Allen, who's got a production company. I forget how to pronounce his his assistant's name.
you said
Heidi
Paul
Mike.
Allen,
Yeah, Paul Allen. Heidi
the Paul
Mike.
Allen. Okay.
Yeah,
Micah, I think it is. I'm not
yeah,
100%
Heidi
sure, but I know.
Micah.
Yeah.
And they're doing a movie called The Harvester. And I'm going to be playing in that. I'm waiting for the script from them because they're busy with other projects right now. And I'm going to probably be doing both The Harvester and Werewolves versus Werewolves from Mars within a 2 week period because I'm due to film my roles in The Harvester around August 16th to the 18th. And then I got to go out to Oregon and film my parts from Werewolves from Mars. And
Okay.
so I'm going to
And
have
this
a
is
very
back to back?
busy
Is this back to back? You said Oregon, and then where's the other one gonna be? How
Indiana.
far? Indiana. Oh, so and it's right after the other? You said this summer, you said, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna be I'm gonna be driving though because my YouTube channel. I'm gonna vlog things on the way there and all the way cross country back.
Wow. Yeah, because 'cause you're coming all the
So
way from South Florida. Well, yeah, I guess
yeah,
like the middle of Florida, Central Florida, going all the way to there and then back to Indiana. Yeah, you're gonna have plenty of it's a good thing you don't need to buy film. You'd run out, but
yeah,
now they're these days. But yeah, I've never done the cross country that far. I've been up and down from New York to Florida many, many times, but
right.
you're gonna go all the way. It's like driving from one coast to the other as if it's like a Cannonball Run, Zach Arnold
Yeah.
style. So there you go.
And for all the people listening and watching who are interested in my YouTube channel, while I'm on the road, I will be posting a daily vlog for each day that I'm on the road. And
Nice.
I will be vlogging like Mount Rushmore, the Grand Canyon. I'm going to try to hit Graceland, Corbin, Kentucky, the original Kentucky Fried Chicken location, Devil's Tower in Wyoming, Las Vegas, Los Angeles, all
Wow.
sorts of great things.
That's gonna be quite a trip, and this is gonna be what in just the next few months. It's already April, and you said the summer, so I'm guessing what, like June, July, you're gonna head out, or
Well,
when
I
does
was
filming
supposed to
start?
head out in June because my film dates for Werewolves from Mars was originally scheduled for July 5th to the 6th, but it got pushed back to August because of the rewrites and stuff. So I reached out to Paul Allen then, and I asked him, I told him the situation. I said, when are you going to need me for the Harvester? He said, probably the week before that. So I was like, okay, well, I got to combine both filming things together, both
Right.
days.
Yeah,
So
because
I'll
you're
be
gonna be
there.
going back and forth, and if you're driving, that's nuts. You're gonna have to stay out there for a few weeks, screen test, do that, come back,
Right,
right? And then that's a lot. That's gonna take a lot out of you, but obviously it's worth it. Is
right.
that independent film? I'm
Yes,
guessing that
they're
it's not
both
a studio
independent
company.
films.
Okay.
May I make a little transition when it comes to acting and YouTube? May I make a little transition segue
Ab
here?
Absolutely not. No, but yes, of course. Go ahead. Yeah, because we're gonna
All
wrap it
right,
up in a little
fine
bit, but
then.
yeah, go ahead. No, go ahead. Be that way. All right. No, go ahead. Knock yourself out. The floor is yours, Zach.
Okay. I'm not good at script writing. So I have a film concept that I'd like to get out there of my own. And it kind of tells the story of me in a way, but it's in a funny comedy like manner. There is, when I was working on impressions, I randomly decided to say, okay, well, let me try to get Grandpa from The Simpsons down. So I'm working with it,
No, that would be
and
fun.
my voice sounded more like an annoying hillbilly redneck jackass, like deep south farming guy. And I'm trying to do Grandpa, and I'm like, well, here's how I'm gonna do Grandpa, partner. And I'm like, that is not Grandpa. So in less than a minute, I had visualized this character, and his name is Nexus from Texas. Nexas from Texas. He is like the dirtiest, most filthy guy you could ever meet. He has a straw hat, long, greasy, dirty blonde hair,
What is this,
dirty,
Deliverance Part 2, it sounds like. I
yeah,
that's what it sounds like. I don't know.
dirty farmer's overalls, and smelly boots and smelly everything, a sunburnt
Perfect.
face, long bearded mustache, messed up teeth, and he always carries his pitchfork and his lasso and the occasional wheelbarrow to pick up women
This
against
sounds like
their
my
will,
3rd grade
obviously.
teacher. His name wasn't Mark, was it?
No, no.
Okay. I'm thinking it was my 3rd grade, except for the wheelbarrow part, but go ahead, I'm sorry. Sorry.
And he's tired of his father's abuse. His father wants him to be a farmer the rest of his life. He doesn't let him sleep in. He doesn't even allow him to dream in his sleep. And his father is so
Doesn't
abusive.
allow him to breathe. Hey,
Yeah,
I mean, he's ahead of the game. He knows who his father is, number 1
yeah.
order of
And
business there, but
so Nexus finally gets tired of it, and he decides to go against his pa's wishes of owning the farm, and he wants something more out of life. So he leaves for Los Angeles. And on the way, the trip, he encounters chaos and antics and stuff, some run-ins with the law, and finally he gets out to LA, and he starts auditioning for parts, but he's not getting them because of his appearance and his accent and stuff. Nobody wants to see an actor like that. Finally, this studio mogul takes a chance on him. And but in order to get that from the studio mogul, he secures himself a lawyer and the lawyer's wife. Now, I will get to the lawyer and the lawyer's wife here in a second, but the lawyer's wife and him come in, and they secure a role for him, but there's one stipulation from the studio mogul. That is, he undergo a total transformation physically, an entire new makeover, and that he take voice lessons, vocal coaching, to rid him of the dirty deep south accent. So he agrees to it reluctantly, but only to find that it's the greatest move and decision he's ever made, because not only does he have a new look and a new voice, but he has a brand new name. And his name is Stevie Glenn. And he goes on to become the most famous and most respected star of Hollywood.
all
And
right.
Now, going back to the YouTube, I know that was a long segue, but I wanted to get the concept out there in case any studio or film company likes the idea and would like to take the film on, wants the film, and I'm just not good at writing it. So I would need a writer and stuff and a good production crew and all that.
Oh, is
But
that
as
all?
far as,
Is
yeah,
that
well,
oh, okay. Great, you're
yeah,
halfway there.
but the lawyer and his wife, there are two YouTube stars out there. They're husband and wife. They're from Brisbane, Queensland, Australia. Their names are Slayman and Kate, and they're notorious for pulling pranks on each other. And Slayman is actually a prosecuting, I think he's a prosecuting lawyer in Queensland, Australia. And I watch them all the time. They're funny, they're hysterical, they believe every prank that they're pulling on each other. I mean, they're easily gullible. But I was thinking also with the way they are on, on their YouTube, they would make great comic actors, like supporting actors here in the States. So if I'm able to get this film off the ground, I would love to somehow reach out to them personally and ask them if they would like to come over to the States and be supporting actors in this, because I'm sure they've never had any kind of offer like that. So I mean, but they've got like over 3 million subscribers on Facebook or on YouTube. Excuse me.
Alright, well, it sounds like there's at least something there to sink your teeth into as far as,
Exactly.
it's just all about it's about the presentation and how it's said. But sometimes it ain't what you know, it's who you know. But
Right.
as more viewership as your channel continues to grow and scale up, you know what I
Hmm.
mean? That it's fine. I mean, it's, how algorithms work and everything, but not worrying about all that. My advice, I'm just saying, hey, you just keep doing that. Worry about the content. Worry about getting better each time, which you have done.
Right.
Like and you mix it up and everything. Don't worry about that other stuff. Will take care of itself
Yeah.
later on. I've always said your niche will find you. You don't have to go out and put a gun to people's heads and say, "Hey, subscribe to my stuff." If they like you and they know where to find you, I mean, it's up to them, and you have to give them a reason, and that's what
Oh
you're working on.
yes.
So you have your stand up, you have a great background, you come from a solid family values, that you had, and you've overcame probably a lot of stuff that couldn't have been easy, you know.
Well, I mean,
Uh,
going back to high school, my principal was not the kindest person. She did not have the interest of the students. She actually chose sides. In order to be accepted by her, you needed to be an athlete, you needed to be an honor roll student, well, distinguished honor roll student, or you had to be, um, what was the other thing? You either had to be an athlete, a straight A student, or you had to be involved in at least three different student activities, like
like the chess club where you fall asleep, like shit like that.
yep. She
Yeah,
did. I
I
was
understand.
I was part of chorus, men's chorus, and the marching band, which I found out were not
Did you just say
acceptable.
clitoris? What was that?
No, chorus, men's
Gotcha.
chorus.
All right. I was gonna say the other one I haven't been able to find yet, but I heard about
Yeah,
chorus. Yes. All right, sorry,
but
please
she
continue.
but she used to say she would find stupid reasons to give me a detention or to try to suspend me. And when I first saw Paul McCartney live in concert in 2002 in Washington, D.C., my dad had to fill out a letter, a form for an educational trip. And without even thinking, she signed off on it. And I said, I'm surprised that you signed off on that. She said, you deserve time off and all that. She was being nice to me. Only later did I find out that she only signed off on it so she could get me out for a couple days. She didn't want me there.
I don't understand why. I mean, that's the way principal. A lot of them
And
were,
she would say to me all the time, she would say, Zach, I'm tired of you trying to think that you're going to be a big person in the entertainment industry someday, because you're not going to be anything. You're a
Oh, that's real nice. Yeah,
troublemaker.
just
You
crush
don't.
your dreams. Yeah, there you go.
She hated the fact that I even existed. And
No, I'm
eventually
just
she
I'm
got
with you.
busted for DUI and fired. And she's since passed away. But, I mean, I don't wish anything bad on anybody. But I do believe that karma will come around eventually.
Yeah,
So,
I've always wanted to be part of my dream job was always the karma delivery service person. I've always wanted to be
yeah,
that. As far as principals are concerned, I mean, come on. I mean, I was in the principal's office so much in junior high, actually in grammar school and junior high. They had my mom's number, her work number, and my dad's on speed dial. I was there so often that I actually worked in the office. I would answer the phone and file, and I was in the office that much. So I totally understand that part of it, but the fact that you harbor no ill will, and you know what? You and I have a lot in common, and probably with a lot of people out there. You'll never be able to do this, and you'll never be on the radio. And you, Zach, you're never going to be an entertainer. You're never going to be a comedian. You suck. This and
yeah.
that. And Greg, you have a Jersey accent. Your name and everything. You're never. No, you're going to end up, working in the karting industry. All the different things that people tell you.
Right.
You use it as fuel. You use it as
Yeah, I
fuel.
mean, she went as low to say, if anything, you'll probably wind up a lifelong prisoner. You'll probably get life in prison with no possibility of parole. Because
Wow.
she
I mean,
she she judged me.
you could have said it's kind of as soon as I graduate, it's kind of like being paroled away from you, bitch. I mean, that's what I would. I mean, in a nice way. I mean that, of course.
Well, I only
But
lashed out on her one time,
oh, did you
and it
poke her
was
in the eyes?
because I had
Did
had
you
it.
get her? Did you do the poke in the eyes thing to her?
I wanted to, but she already wore glasses, so.
Well, that's true. You could have tripped her or something, but that's probably
Well,
not kind of good.
it's funny you should say trip, because here's
Uh-oh.
one thing she busted me for. And it was
What, tripping?
comedic. It was funny.
No.
No, I said for my senior project, I was going to take an educational trip. Because she asked me, what are you going to do for your senior class project? I said, well, I'm going to take an educational trip. She said, well, where are you going to go? I said, I don't know yet. She goes, well, you have until the end of the day to let me know, or you're getting a Saturday detention. Later on in the day, I'm coming out of my last period class, getting ready to go to what we called flex right before the bell rang, where we pretty much, did homework and stuff. It was a free period. We're
Mhm.
coming out of the classroom. I'm with my buddy, and I see her coming down the hallway. And I said, hey, when she gets nearby us, put your foot out and trip me. And I'm going to fall as hard as I can to get her attention. So he's like, no problem. She gets within maybe 5 feet of us, and my buddy trips me and I fall right in front of her. She goes, what was that all about? I said, I just did my senior class project. She's like, what do you mean? I said, I took an educational trip. He tripped me in the hallway of the education center. I took an educational trip.
Unbelievable.
She
Like
said,
a
office now.
a hair away from assault, but not bad. I mean,
Yeah,
and I mean that would be required reading, and people go to slip and fall school here in Jersey every day. But
yeah,
that's quite a story. You know what? I would have been education. I would have been. I'm going to sit in the foot of your bed while you and your husband do whatever you do. That would be educational. Then you would have got tossed like a week before. But then again, I'm built a different way when it comes to that stuff.
right,
I just come from the school of what's the matter you. But in any
right.
event, all right. So before as we have to wrap it up, though, I have been running your thing on the bottom there, the incredible impression. So it's youtube.com
Yeah,
forward slash at the incredible impression. That's on Zach W. Arnold. That's his YouTube page. He's got shorts, he's got reels, he's got some little bit longer form content, and about you going and doing all this acting stuff that you're going to be going Indiana and Oregon, and you're going to be filming kind of like your I can't think of the word right now, but it's kind of like the course of events that are going to lead you there, where you're actually
right.
narrating your own life in real time. Now that's cool. Now that's something that people might think that's pretty cool. Number one, the only thing I want to know is how much money you're going to spend on friggin' gas. Number one, but number two,
That's what I'm wondering.
say, are you allowed to ask for money if you say please? Is that more like, or is that an inundated thing? I don't know, but
I don't know.
yeah,
But
we'll have to.
also, I do have an IMDb website for imdb.com. I'm
Are you
going
on
to
there?
have to, yeah, if you just go to Google, I don't know the exact URL yet, because it's a basic thing that was started with my extra role in Blended, the TV pilot. But still talking with Ben Bartlett, my podcast credit is on there as well. You can just go to Zach W. Arnold IMDb in Google, and it'll bring you right to it.
Because you're not sure of the exact URL. And yeah, I do.
No, I'm not.
I
I mean,
know.
I can send it to you then if you want.
Well, yeah. I mean, this is for people that are listening. Yeah, of course. We'll be in touch.
Right.
Yeah, and I know Ben. He'll take care. See, they told me I should have one of those, and I told. I don't want to say her name or whatever. I'm like, I'm not an actor. I'm a voice actor, but I'm not an actor. That's for actors and people in that type of thing because you should be. You are.
Right.
You know, I'm a
Thank
terrestrial
you.
radio guy. I don't want to be on there. I have the perfect face for radio. You
Right.
are an actor, yeah, right? And
Well,
hey,
here's the thing,
It's
too.
either Mars or Uranus. You know, what do you want me to tell you?
Right.
But I
Well, here's the
I think you
interesting.
should be. You should be on there, man.
Thank you. And as a matter of fact, my acting roles that are coming up are in stark contrast to my YouTube and to impressions because my background is comedy. But when it comes to acting, I can play anybody, like anybody, anything. As a
Well,
matter
that's
of
a
fact, as
character.
I
That's a
said, my
character
role,
actor, right?
right, my role in Werewolves from Mars is of a snobby, you know, arrogant bar influence that leads the charge to fight against the werewolves. And then in The Harvester, I'm playing a menacing sidekick to a mass murderer. And one other thing I didn't mention, next month in May, I have another extra role that I'm doing down in Orlando for a Christmas movie that's coming out, which is an evil horror Christmas movie. And I'm playing a caveman. And I have no dialogue or anything, but I am going to be making caveman noises. But I'll be, decked out as a caveman.
You could
So,
watch Ringo Starr in Caveman if you want to
oh
point
yes,
of
yes,
reference. You can watch that. He's good. As far as the other stuff, werewolves and people and bar influencers and rough people. I mean, that sounds like Jersey City to me. But anyway, that's no, I'm sure it's an Oscar winner for sure there. But anyway, if you want to leave us with one last thought here, um, how do you want our audience here? Because we're in the New York, New Jersey area and everything, and we know that you're at the incredible impression .com there, and you have the IMDb that will be going up, and you'll be
hmm
posting on. You have social media. You haven't
I
mentioned,
have Facebook and Instagram.
and Facebook and Instagram. What's your handle on there?
Facebook is Zach W. Arnold. Zach W. Period Arnold.
Okay, and that's linked in
And
with Instagram since they own both, right? So
yes,
okay,
and for Instagram, I believe I just changed my handle name for that, but I believe it's Zach W. under underline Arnold.
underscore underscore.
Underscore Arnold.
Wow.
Yes.
Well, we really prepared well for this show. Anyway,
Yeah.
but this, I'm just kidding. You know what? I changed handle on well, the girl that takes care of my stuff there. She changed the handle on that stuff, and then I was on somebody's the Sherpa's podcast, and my friend Jimmy, and he's putting
Yes,
all the
Jim
stuff.
Sharp. I was on his podcast
Yeah,
too.
and I changed all because I don't do many interviews, but I did for him because I know Jim, and he put all the stuff out. I'm like, half those handles are wrong. I said because by the time that he aired it from when we did it, I'm like, oh shit. But
Yeah.
yeah, good guy, Jimmy. But in any
Well,
event, all right, leave us with one. You got to do this one. It leave us
okay.
with at least one I don't think anything's going to beat Tommy Chong. That was probably, in my opinion, that was the best one that you
Thank
did since
you.
we were on here. That one, hey man, that you sounded
Hey
just like
man, yeah. And hey man, what you think you're doing, man?
well, what's your favorite? Okay, your favorite impression in regards to the one that you think that you do the best. Is it the same? Is it the same one, or is that two different things? Do it.
Well, I'm gonna
Does it make
leave.
sense?
I'm gonna leave the final note from one thought before I do this final one for sign off. I do appeal strongly to the Fox Network to get me on Greg Gutfeld, but
Oh,
only
here
on
we
a
go.
night that Cat Tiff is there. No,
Yeah,
I'm
we got that
serious.
one. No, I know you are. I know. Okay. But back
And
to reality. What's the other thing? Because Cat, no, you're gonna get us both through. So, and what's this? Which character do you feel that you do the best? And is the one that you do the best your favorite one? Sometimes that's not the same thing.
Richard Nixon would like to leave you with one
Trick,
thought.
Tricky Dick. Okay.
Ricky Dicky. Let me bring him out of the mothballs real quick.
Oh boy.
But God, I'm having a jowl movement. My fellow Americans, you know, never be mean, never be cruel, never be vindictive, because always remember the toes you step on today may be connected to the ass you'll have to kiss tomorrow.
Now that is my third grade teacher. That was actually pretty good. All right. So,
Thank
and is
you.
that your favorite? Is that your favorite one to be able to do Tricky Dick there? Is that your favorite one and the one that you feel that you do the best? Like I said, is that all the same thing?
I have a couple that are like, if I had to choose the top five that I did the best, it would be Cheech and Chong,
Right.
Richard Nixon, Ed Wynn of Alice in Wonderland,
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't even get to do that for you. And
Well,
Jimmy Stewart is my all-time best ones.
all right. And that's your favorite one, the one that you're best at equals the one that you like the most.
Yes, well, I think Ed Wynn is the one that I love doing very much, very most.
Well, we're gonna flash your thing one more time, and I'm sure we'll see you again. And let's flash that back up on the screen there. So there it is, the incredible impression on
Oh, yeah,
YouTube.
the incredible impression. Oh, Ed
And there it
Wynn's
is.
telling you, go look at the incredible impression, because Zach is that kind of man who, he's trying to make a big name for himself, but he has no supporters.
Well, that's what they used to say, entering, for entertainment. Either you make a name for yourself or an ass out of yourself. There's a thin line right there. You got to know when to cross over or when not. But I think you're on the right side, buddy. I wish you the
Thank
best of
you.
luck and everything. And
Thank
it's
you
not
so
easy
much.
doing stuff on spec, just like that.
Yeah,
People might say, "Oh, I
exactly.
could do that," but yeah, give it a shot. It isn't easy as it looks, is it? So,
Right. No, it's not.
thanks for spending time with us, Zach. I wish you the best of luck with everything. I'm sure we'll talk at some point. Again, we have a lot of mutual friends, and
Yes.
yeah, I'm gonna be. I'm rooting for you, man. You're a good
Thank you.
guy. You have a good heart, which actually helps because some people could be pretentious assholes and they
Yes.
still are good. You're not, but you're able
Yeah.
to. What? No, I don't. 8.6 FM WGAT. I am Gregory Joseph. In case you didn't know that, and a special how you doing from New Jersey, and special thanks. I wanted to give a thanks here to Lisa. Lisa from New York sent me this Bears jersey. That's my Kelly Leak from the Bad News Bears. It's really, you probably can't see that. I'll wear it another time, and the camera angle isn't right. But anyway, thank you so much. What a nice gift that was. Chicks dig me, man. But in any event, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. This is WGAT. This is the Mean Machine Radio Show, and we will be back. We have a great interview that's coming up. It's going to be airing on our YouTube channel, which is the Mean Machine Radio Show on YouTube. You can catch us on all the different social media. I am Gregory Joseph at meanmachineradio.com. So a special thanks once again to Zach Arnold, our special guest from today, Mr. Funny. We're going to call him from now on, I think. Anyway, until we see you again, just want to say take care, say a prayer, comb your hair, and we'll see you there. And if you can't be good, be mean. Good night from New Jersey. Rock on, baby.